You've probably heard about the theory of evolution, described by Charles Darwin, who introduced the idea of natural selection, where only the fittest survive and pass on their genes. However, some people seem to defy this logic by dying in such unusual ways that perhaps natural selection acted to prevent certain genes from being passed on. In today's video, let's take a look at some of these bizarre cases. Mike Hughes, a fervent flat-earther, tried at all costs to prove that the Earth was flat. At 64 years old, he built a homemade rocket to launch himself into the sky and capture an image that would confirm his theory. Unfortunately, after the launch, his parachute failed, and he plummeted to his death before confirming what everyone already knew: the Earth is not flat. One of the main reasons for his accident was a lack of engineering knowledge and safety measures that were not applied to the rocket. João Maria de Souza, a 44-year-old farmer from Minas Gerais, Brazil, was resting at home when a cow, which had been on a nearby cliff, fell onto him through the roof. The cow, which had apparently jumped to escape a predator, caused a femur fracture in João, and internal bleeding led to his death a few days later. In 2011, a group of motorcyclists gathered to protest against the mandatory use of helmets, claiming they should have the freedom to choose. Felipe Contos, 55, participated in the rally but ironically lost control of his motorcycle and, without a helmet, died after hitting his head on the asphalt. According to doctors, he would have survived if he had been wearing the safety gear. Fate, perhaps, delivered a harsh lesson on the importance of safety. Timothy Wilkes, a 20-year-old, decided to stage an armed robbery as part of a prank for his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, those around him were unaware it was a joke, and one of the bystanders drew a real gun, shooting and killing Timothy on the spot. The police concluded that the shooter acted in self-defense, highlighting the dangers of engaging in such pranks. Australian Jordan Ian, 22, bought a supposedly stab-proof vest online. To test the product, he stabbed himself in front of friends, only to discover that the vest was not as effective as he had hoped. The injury was fatal, and Jordan died before receiving medical attention. In 1995, 39-year-old Robert Overaker attempted an audacious feat, to ride a jet ski over Niagara Falls and deploy a parachute to land safely. However, the plan failed, the parachute didn't open, and he fell onto the rocks, losing his life in a tragic manner. Mark Gleason, a 26-year-old man who suffered from severe snoring, came up with an unusual idea. After many sleepless nights, he and his girlfriend decided to place tampons in his nostrils to try to prevent the noise. However, during the night, he accidentally inhaled the tampons, which blocked his airways, leading to asphyxiation and death. In 1982, David Grundman decided to use his shotgun to shoot giant cacti in the Arizona desert. After felling a small cactus, he aimed at an 8-meter-tall giant, which resulted in disaster. One of the cactus's arms fell on David, crushing him and causing his death. In 2008, Father Adelir de Carli, in an effort to raise money for social projects, attempted to fly between the Brazilian states of Parana and Mato Grosso do Sul using 1,000 party balloons filled with helium. Despite having some experience in skydiving, he was caught in an air current that took him off his planned course. Lacking sufficient knowledge of GPS operation, he was unable to send his location for rescue. His body was found months later near Rio de Janeiro. James, fed up with being bothered by wasps in his home, decided one day to use a vacuum cleaner to suck them up. His plan worked, but still unsatisfied, he emptied an entire can of insecticide into the vacuum and turned it on again, causing an explosion that killed him instantly. In 1990, a young man had the bright idea to rob a gun store, despite a police car being parked right outside. He entered the store, held up, and shot the police officer inside, but was quickly shot and killed by the clerk, who had easy access to multiple firearms. Louis Death, a 79-year-old former engineer, felt abandoned by his family and built several traps in his home to prevent relatives from stealing his belongings after his death. He even documented the locations of the traps, but one day, while retrieving something from the kitchen, he accidentally triggered one of his own traps, fatally shooting himself with a shotgun he had set up. A pair of Indian bloggers, obsessed with capturing the perfect selfie, tragically fell off a 900-meter cliff during a trip to California in 2018. Despite being warned by their followers about the dangers, their pursuit of likes ultimately led to their deaths. Franz Reichelt, an Austrian tailor, was determined to prove that his flying suit invention was effective. In 1912, he climbed the Eiffel Tower, in front of a crowd and the press, to demonstrate his creation. Franz trusted his suit so much that, without testing it beforehand, he jumped from a height of 60 meters. Unfortunately, his invention failed, and he fell to his death, proving that lack of prudence can have fatal consequences. In 2021, in India, a 25-year-old man, lacking a condom during an intimate moment, decided to seal his genitals with superglue, believing it would prevent pregnancy. The toxic glue entered his bloodstream, leading to his death. An impulsive and absurd decision ended up costing him his life, proving that ignorance can be lethal. James Sakala, a 22-year-old Zambian pastor, claimed to have received the gift of resurrection from God. To prove his power, he convinced his congregation to bury him alive, promising to rise again like Lazarus. 3 days later, when the pastor was unearthed, he was found dead. The act of blind faith ended in tragedy, leading to the arrest of several church members. Alright folks, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which of these deaths you found the most unusual and bizarre. Thank you so much for your support, and see you next time.